JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding Monday, March 9th, 9:19 on this fine morning. Talk quick about the market, some names I'm looking at, go from there. I did a week ahead webinar last night, so if you get a chance, listen to that. It's 30 minutes, so obviously we got 11 minutes to the open. Tough to get all that in the next 11 minutes, but pretty much the same stuff here. Take a look at the S&P futures off the lows. I did the week ahead webinar, and as I was talking, futures opened, S&P was down 1%, oil was at $100, and as the night progressed, oil all the way up to pretty much 120 a barrel at about 11:45. S&P was down 2.5%, and that was it. And then we reversed course. There's nothing new. I think there's announcements in regard to some of the Middle East countries alleviating some of the concerns in regards to supply, right? So the issue in the Middle East now is that you can produce the oil, but now you can't if you ship it. There's no place to put the oil, right? So supposedly production's coming offline. Ah, who knows? The big issue here in regards to oil is there's countries that are dependent on oil, and the U.S. used to be one of those countries. Now the U.S. It used to be back early in the 1900s, used to be the biggest producer. Then they weren't. Now with the advent of fracking, what have you, has kind of alleviated that. So the countries that are at risk would be like Japan, right? Now I don't know how much a percent of their oil is um, imported from the Middle East, but it's a lot. Same with India. So those are the countries definitely at risk. But things are a lot different now. Even just from 5-10 years ago, the world is so intertwined in regards to the trade, communication, energy, all those different things. So you hope, and I keep being an optimist that things get resolved. Maybe there's less events this week in regards to strikes and infrastructure and things like that. Maybe there'll be some kind of signal that there maybe some kind of structure or framework of some kind of peaceful end to what's going on. Oil today might be a good day for price discovery on oil, right? All the way up to $120 a barrel. Is that just kind of fear and panic, and then we'll kind of settle back down and we'll see. It's funny, like market forces create other opportunities. So with oil at a high price, how can that be alleviated? So rants for other days don't have much time to talk about, but this week might be a little more discovery of how the markets can react if this conflict rolls on for another 2 or 3 weeks. What does that look like? If the escalation slows down a little bit, maybe market finds some footing, trades on the economy's merits as opposed to concerns. And I keep saying my big worry is some kind of event, right? Some kind of event on U.S. soil, assassination, some kind of surprise event, right? Some contagion. That's that. But right now, it's an environment where it's very easy to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Where it's World War III is coming. Hey, I'm not no military person. I'm just here to trade, right? With the hopes that there's no World War III, right? I'm not. That would be worst case scenario. But put on watch this morning. If there's any kind of those events, that I would definitely worry about putting my bear suit on. Also, if oil stays over 110 a barrel for extended period of time, a couple weeks, then you have to worry. It's going to have impacts, inflation, then that stagflation that everybody was talking about for 2 years now. That's definitely probably like a probability, not a possibility, a probability, right? Because then oil has so much in regards to what it does with transportation, production, plastics, all these different things. It's a part of. So it's just a matter of not if but when. But hopefully we don't have to go down that road. Markets find some footing. Take a look at a SPY. I keep talking that 655 handle was a big spot under that 677. Sure enough, got down to 656 in the overnight hours. So now we kind of know that's like a threshold there. If we get under that, some serious downside on the way. The thing is, I put on the watch list too. We'll be down 1% here at the open, or S&P is down what? Yeah, well, it's pretty much 0.98%. And even if you're in some of the put positions, they actually might be red today. So that just goes to show it's tough just to trade on the premise of downside. It's frustrating. Not only that, you're sitting at 11 o'clock last night and thinking, wow, I'm sitting pretty. Look at some. ASML was one of those names I was talking about as a potential put play, and that was looking like it was going to break under 1200. And here it is. I don't even want to look right now. It's probably 1285. It's going to open almost flat, right? So, and then some of these other names going to be in the green. SanDisk, which was you have this still the worries of Samsung, South Korea markets trading like they're like it's a penny stock, and SanDisk was down to 480. It was all the way up to 540 just a little while ago. So, unfortunately, those swings create volatility. Volatility creates applied vol going up on individual names, which means premiums are up, makes it tough to trade. Hopefully find some decent, inexpensive trades. I talked about Visa. Visa is only 3% implied move on the stock so far this week. So, with that being said, it could be flat and premiums might go up and you still make money on the puts, even if the stock doesn't fall. So, those are kind of the trades that I'll be looking at. And then some of the other names that I like. And I talked about Intuit. I'll pull up the charts in a second. That big move off its post earnings move from its lows 380, you got to 500 calls, the March 20s. Those are up to 2,000%. So, I look at names like the Reddits, the Roblox, as names that have kind of been taken to the woodshed with that whole software sell-off fiasco. Those names you all needs a little kick in the butt, and you can get some far out of the money strikes that'll play. The Lemonades, which you already have to close on, another name, maybe trades into the 70s if you do. All right, so that's overall market. So we'll see how the market finds some footing today. Can't rule out a red to green. I mean, I think that'll probably surprise most people, right? Usually the market does I wouldn't say it does what's least expected, but I'll continue to keep things small. And then when I have conviction in trades, obviously I'll take those on. Also this week we have CPI data. That's Wednesday. We have the JOLTS report, and then I'm trying to think of the GDP. GDP comes out fourth quarter. So a lot of different things going on amongst all the other crazy headlines that keep coming out. All right, so overall market, just individual names. I talked about on the weekend webinar some other names that might go up just even if the market goes down. L3 Harris, LHX. That's a name I'll be watching. Maybe some 400 strikes. I've been one of my top 5 stocks for 2026. CF Industries, 30+%, or even 30 to 50% of the fertilizer inventory on the global inventory comes through the Strait of Hormuz, right? So, with that being said, a name like CF Industries, NTR, Mosaic, IPI, those are FERT names. They don't have to worry about that strait being an issue. What they do is take advantage of prices going up, and with that are obviously margins more profitable. So if you look at CF, I think it's the one they actually open more strikes on CF overnight. So maybe some 140s. Did I pull up? 130s maybe this weekly. So we'll see if it finds a bid. Unfortunately, on Friday, it ran up at the open and then sold off. So I don't want to get caught in a run up and then watch it sell off. So I'll be close on the trigger there. And then the other names, Reddit, I have this pincher set up that I posted. And, these are not always, take a look into it, right? And this is the pincher where you have the momentum indicators pinched together. And take a look at that reversal. Again, the 500 strikes, which I think I posted here, 60 cents up to $10, and it'll probably be higher later this week. That being said, you have Reddit. Reddit has a different kind of picture when the Bollinger Bands are tight, which is just a tug of war. When you have a prolonged period of time of bulls and bears fighting, eventually one of them win, and when they do, you have a big outsized move. You also have the case. You can also make the case as a bear flag. So, with that being said, obviously the big move could be to the downside. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it just needs a kick. I don't know if it's going to be an analyst upgrade or some kind of news event, but similar to what I talked about Intuit, maybe some 190 or 200 far out strikes that are inexpensive now. When it does start to get the move, those will be heck of a lot less expensive and then turn into some serious multi-baggers. So those are some of the names I'll be watching today. The normal ones, the Roblox, right? And then, SE, right? So this is the last one I'll talk about. A name that had earnings last week, sold off 25%. It's actually decent earnings. It's a great story. Tons of cash. It's like, I use the comparison like the Baidu of Southeast Asia. And it just, I think, was a slight miss, and it got destroyed. And I think that's kind of the environment we're in, where these companies get just sold off indiscriminately. So could be an opportunity. It's actually down under $90 here in the pre-market. I might look for some strikes, play for movement in the mid 90s. And that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.